That's right, friends. Donald Trump just lost in federal court again. Let's talk about that because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Donald Trump just lost another case in federal court, and that's not unusual. That's pretty much par for the course. But what's so disturbing is that he lost this same legal battle in court during his first administration. So what that shows is that Donald Trump is knowingly and intentionally issuing unconstitutional executive orders. Executive orders that were found unconstitutional previously by federal courts. You know, this represents outright lawlessness in the Oval Office. As always, let's start with the new reporting. This from Reuters. Headline, U.S. judge blocks Trump from withholding funds from 16 sanctuary cities, counties. And that article begins, a federal judge on Thursday blocked Donald Trump's administration from withholding federal funding from more than a dozen so-called sanctuary jurisdictions that have declined to cooperate with the Republican president's hardline immigration crackdown. U.S. District Judge William Orrick in San Francisco issued the injunction at the request of 16 cities and counties nationally. San Francisco, which led the lawsuit, in its complaint filed in February, argued that the Trump administration was unlawfully trying to force local officials to cooperate with federal immigration arrests. The jurisdictions include the cities of Minneapolis, New Haven, Connecticut, Portland, Oregon, St. Paul, Minnesota, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Seattle, which have laws and policies that limit or prevent local law enforcement from assisting federal officers with civil immigration arrests. Supporters of such laws have said that cooperation with federal immigration enforcement would discourage immigrants who are living in the U.S. illegally from coming forward as victims or witnesses to crimes. The lawsuit challenges an executive order Trump signed that threatens to cut off federal funding to sanctuary jurisdictions that limit or refuse to cooperate with federal immigration law enforcement, including U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This quote from the judge, the threat to withhold funding causes them irreparable injury in the form of budgetary uncertainty, deprivation of constitutional rights, and undermining trust between the cities and counties and the communities they serve, Judge Orrick said. During his first term as president, Trump in 2017 signed a similar executive order targeting sanctuary jurisdictions. San Francisco sued then, too, leading Judge Orrick to block the policy in a ruling that was upheld by the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. And friends, in case you're wondering if the federal judges are growing tired of Donald Trump's repeated unconstitutionality, this quote from Judge Orrick, quote, here we go again. Orrick said a preliminary injunction blocking enforcement of Trump's latest executive orders was likewise warranted as the local jurisdictions had established that Trump's order likely unconstitutionally imposed conditions on federal funding without congressional authorization and ran afoul of the locality's due process rights. And friends, the Republican Party knows that Donald Trump is sitting in the Oval Office acting lawlessly and unconstitutionally day in and day out. And I think we're fast approaching the time when Donald Trump will openly defy Supreme Court orders and rulings. And that, in a very real sense, will represent Donald Trump trying to bring an end to our constitutional construct of government. And once Donald Trump does that, co-equal branches of government will be a thing of the past. You know, at some point, it seems like the Republicans will have to step up, will have to address what Donald Trump is trying to do, end American democracy as we know it, as we've lived it. And you know, I saw Senator Lisa Murkowski recently say, "We are all afraid." She was referencing how the Republicans are afraid of Donald Trump. And I don't dismiss that. I don't demean it. I certainly don't mock it. I understand it. But, you know, there was a time in our nation's history when people needed to act to save the republic. They needed to act to keep our union intact. And that involved men arming themselves with muskets, marching into open fields, putting life and limb on the line, sometimes fighting brother on brother. And they were scared. You can bet your ass they were scared, but they overcame their fear and they fought and they did what they had to do to save the Union. But the Republicans don't need to do that. They don't need to take up arms. They don't need to fight brother on brother or sister on sister. All they really need to do is cross the aisle to save democracy. Cross the aisle to save democracy. You know, let me end with a riddle, friends. Why did the chicken cross the aisle? To save democracy. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.